Thank you so much for making a date on the marketplace, and welcome back. The Ashanti Regional National Secretariat of the National Service Scheme has denied allegations 39,000 Ghana cedis of service personnel dues has been diverted. Regional Director Alex Opoku-Mensah is said to have paid the money meant for the association's programs into a personal account for payment of ex gratia. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has been following up on this issue and has filed this report.
Mr. Opoku-Mensah and the National Service Personnel Association Finance Officer Nana Chechehine allegedly signed a check for the money. Outgoing executives of the association called for an inquiry. Here is Asante Achem's Central Municipal Vice President of NASPA, Hamid Abdallah.
So after the call, I told the president that this is not right. As a national service executive, probably at the regional level, you can't take such huge amount as end of service benefit or ex gratia. It can never be done. Although the Constitution gives you the mandate to take some amount of money when you are leaving office, but at least these monies are huge for service personnel to take home. So I believe this went down with the president. So he called the vice president telling that these monies, he can't take it, and he communicated that to the director. This didn't go down with the director very well, so he ordered for the check, which was supposed to be in custody of the president or the FO. The check of the association does not belong to the director. But as I speak, he took the check and he cashed the money. So he signed with the vice, the FO.
So they came to me that they want to take so. I said, I cannot decide for you. And under no circumstance that I was part of their deliberation as to how much they should take. And this is the minutes that they wrote concerning what they agreed to take. But it is imperative and instructive to know that when they came, they brought outrageous figures. And I asked them how they came by. And the consensus was that their president, Kwaku Wusu Bampo, he would be the president. I came and met total empty coffers from all districts to the regional offices. So when I was organizing their elections, it was very difficult. We had to go and borrow monies elsewhere. So I brought this initiative that I don't want any of the districts or regional account to be empty as they are living. And I use a directive that every district or regional account should be left with 15% of whatever figure they have. And mind you, they have always been emptying the coffers. So me bringing these directives, they were not happy.
Questions were also about ongoing illegal collection of 2 Ghana cedis from each service person for certificates without proper accountability. Mr. Opoku says the allegations are untrue.
Now from here, go and ask owner services, practice chair. If you have once a day, how much does it cost? 50 pesos. So if you pay 2 cedis, it means once 50 pesos is gone. Am I right? He left with what? 50 pesos. And I'm saying that sometimes we don't wait for Accra to bring us money to buy the bundle and what have you. The little that we get, we put it together and then we buy all those things. So with the 2 cedis that we are collecting, we have nothing to hide. It is in the interest of the service personnel themselves. Except to that in any society, we get 1 or 2 unscrupulous people to speak evil, where evil is not existing. So let me inform you officially that, to me, because I have nothing to hide today, as I came, I respectfully told them that those who were seated on the chairs that we are taking the chairs back to their owners. And for that matter, the envelope too, we have ceased giving them envelope. And this means that we are no more collecting the 2 cedis. So from today, as you could see them, people who come for their certificate, we give it to them by hand. When we finish, let's go and see it there. They are all standing. Whose money should I use to go and buy the chairs or hide the chairs for them? So that is the purpose that it is due for.
Meanwhile, outgoing NASPA President Kwaku Wusu Bampo denied discussing ex gratia, for which he demanded 5,600 Ghana cedis as his take-home package. He accuses the regional director of hating him and trying to drag his name into the mud. Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
Let's move to one of our top stories today. And Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says government plan to issue a $50 billion century bond to fund critical infrastructure projects will be outlined in the 2019 budget statement come November 15. According to him, the budget statement expected in Parliament will give clear information and strategies on how the government intends to raise the fund. The minister made the disclosure in an interview after launching the Public Investment Management System policy here in Accra.
I think the concept will be in there, and then the fundraise will start after the budget. Yeah, but we're excited about it. I think we have, gone through the worst of times and where we are now. Certainly the issue of the currency, the dollar has gotten stronger all around. I think the UK, the pound sterling is about 5% down, euro about 6%. South Africa. So really, in terms of comparables, we are holding our own in many respects, and that's why we had the S&P upgrade, which signals the confidence in what we are doing and where we are going. I think we need to increase liquidity in the system, and we need to work on that. But I think we are on pretty solid grounds. With last week's signing of the cocoa proceeds, that will certainly strengthen, in terms of give people more confidence about the currency, which is good.
Now, beverage manufacturers are being advised to take advantage of an accelerated depreciation program by the Ghana Revenue Authority to procure machines for affixing products with tax stamps. This advice comes on the back of complaints by some manufacturers that the cost of acquiring the tax stamp affixing equipment is too high. Special advisor to the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Akwesi Nyanchira, tells Joy Business there's an incentive model to be given to manufacturing companies that comply by the end of this year.
Producer, you can buy some of them.
What are the tax components on these products whenever they are being exported?
You see, by law, machinery and other things, they already enjoy concessionary rates, right? But this is not even the tax, the cost, including should you pay the tax, the cost plus other things. At the end of the year, you can deduct 50% of whatever you spent, right, under the accelerated depreciation, so that the balance at the end of the following year, the tax that you are going to pay to government as part of your corporate or whatever it is, you deduct it before you pay the rest to government.
Would the GRA allow that?
Yes, to GRA said we are the agency collecting the money. And the law has been signed. It's there.
So it's more like an incentive for the...
The incentive is also to reduce the cost, to make people buy in. I think government does not want to increase the cost of doing business, but this is a compliance measure to address various issues with excisable goods. Excisable goods are different simply because of the imposition of excise duty. The total duty is high, but if you remember, the excisable, not everything is excisable. There are some particular types of goods which are excisable. And because of the peculiar nature, that is why we make sure that the taxes are paid.
Thank you very much, sir. Very grateful.
All right, so we would like to get back to our earlier story on the century bond, where the finance minister has declared his intention to give out the plan to fund or to receive the fund for this $50 billion dollar bond come the next budget 2019. Let's get on the phone lines now and speak with Head of Finance at the University of Cape Coast, Professor John Gachi, to get his thoughts about this proposed long-term bond. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the marketplace. Hello, Prof.
Hello.
All right, now, if you've been listening, the finance minister has now given the nod.
You can raise your voice a little bit.
All right, so I was saying that the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has said he's going to outline plans to go for the $50 billion century bond in November. That's on the budget for 2019. Now, do we need a century bond to fund critical infrastructure projects in this country?
Well, I think the appropriate thing to do when you want to engage in long-term borrowing, to have a proper plan, and also that plan approved by Parliament. So I think it is proper that we are going to see the plan that will be accompanying the desire to borrow $50 billion in the 2019 budget. So we can all discuss it and see whether it fits the aspirations especially in terms of the development agenda of the country. And then after that, we can also match it with the current debt burden of the country, what implications it will have for the country going forward.
All right, so that's exactly what we want to look at. What would be the implication of such a long-term
Please, if
bond?
you can raise your voice, I can't hear you.
Prof, can you hear me now? Good afternoon.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, so what would be the implication of this long-term bond on the economy?
Well, the implications are two. First, you look at the positive side. Number one under that is that if we look at what the bond will be applied to, for example, if we focus on strategic infrastructure development in the area of rail, road network, energy sector, and other critical sectors of the country, then that will help actually promote concerted and inclusive development and growth of the country. So that asset becomes the asset of the country. It will continue to contribute to the growth and the development of country for a long time. But you just borrow because of this nice expectation of what you can use the debt. You must look at your current condition. Our current condition is such that we are borrowed currently up to 159, close to 160 billion Ghana cedis. If you look at the performance of our tax revenue, which will be an anchor for the repayment, is such that we have moved from 12.4% in October 2017 to 7.1% of GDP as of June this year. That tells you that the kind of economy we are developing is not able to grow and become productive in terms of revenue mobilization. So if we are not able to feed this thing, taking in more long-term debt, which is appropriate, will still have problem for us in terms of repayment, and we actually trap into a debt distress situation, which I don't think we want to do.
Now, at any point in time, can we truncate, the lifespan of this bond? Should we get adequate revenue?
Please, your line is very faint.
All right, Prof. I wanted to know if it is possible for the country to cut short or truncate the lifespan of the bond. Should the country reap in enough revenue?
Well, it depends on the structure of the bond. Bonds can be structured to have what we call a call provision. So if there is a call provision, that call provision will also have what we call the call provision seal. That is to say that you don't engage investors to give out their money with the expectation of receiving coupons over a period of time in truncate. So there is a period after which the issuer of the bonds may be allowed to repay. So if all those features are enshrined in the bond agreement, then that possibility may be there. But if you have a naked bond, you will not have the opportunity of truncating the business like that.
All right, many thanks for your time. Professor John Gachi is the head of finance at the University of Cape Coast. He's been sharing his thoughts on the plans by the finance minister to outline plans for securing the $50 billion century bond in November in the 2019 budget. Ahead, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, says it will soon introduce a scheme to enable informal sector subscribers pay premiums via mobile money platforms. Director General Dr. John Ofori-Tinkrine spoke at the Public Sensitization Exercise and Customer Service Mobile Clinic in the Ashanti region. Prince Appiah has more in this report.
The SNIT's Mobile Clinic is an annual exercise of getting onto the streets to transact business with clients. This year's exercise in Kumasi took place at Trede, Jabing, and Ofinso, where residents took advantage of the clinic to register and check their statements, among other transactions. Others for the first time had opportunity to register for the scheme.
Yeah, I haven't checked yet, but for my distant pay slip, they used to deduct, they deduct it every day. For just to know much about SNIT, and find out my distant statement and check my statement, to know if the company is paying or not.
The initiative is meant to bring SSNIT offices close to the people for easy registration. Director General of SSNIT, Dr. Ofori Tenkwang, says subscription has increased significantly since inception of the outreach.
And as and when necessary, if we need to increase the frequency, we will do so. And everything that we do, we also take notes and we judge by the response and see how effective it is. And I think we've realized that this is an effective way of actually getting to the people. Sometimes people, maybe they are intimidated, they don't want to come to the office, but in an open setting like this, where you can just walk in and it's not like you're entering somebody's office, people feel comfortable to come and sit here and discuss a whole bunch of other issues with us regarding SSNIT business.
One major challenge, however, is how to make the informal sector benefit from the scheme without bureaucratic barriers. Dr. Ofori Tenkwai says SSNIT is working on a parallel scheme with flexible contribution terms on mobile money platforms.
One of the things that we feel we need to do is actually to make it easier for the small scale, traders or people in, small scale enterprises, sole proprietors and stuff, to make it easier for them to give us their money. So outside the main scheme that we are running, we are also trying to launch an informal sector scheme. I mean, such a scheme will probably be one where you can, for example, do your contributions through like mobile money. Maybe it's 5 cedis, maybe it's 2 cedis a day, maybe it's 3 cedis a day. And we try to automate that process so that the burden of collection and supervision will not require a lot of manpower, but we will heavily deploy electronics and IT to allow to facilitate that kind of interaction with us. It is something that is on the drawing board. We are seriously working on it, and as and when we get the approval through our boards and we cross our T's and dot our I's, we'll be able to launch a parallel pension scheme that offers maybe a little bit more flexible contribution terms and maybe flexible benefit terms that would suit that class.
We're still live on the marketplace. Let's go on to one of our issues here, developing issues. A local partner is yet to be selected to partner international oil giant ExxonMobil as it gets ready to explore hydrocarbons in the deepwater Cape 3 Points block offshore in the western region. Ghana's exploration and production law reserves 5% stake for indigenous investors. There are some questions as to whether ExxonMobil keeps the 5% for Ghanaians through an amendment of the law to pave way for the company to go ahead with production and later give Ghana its share of the financial resources, or go by the existing law where a local company mobilizes 5% of more than the $12 billion oil project and also be ready to respond or pay immediately in future cash call-ups. My colleague Norvan Akwa-Hayford is here to share some insights on the marketplace. And good afternoon, Norvan. Welcome.
Good afternoon to you,
Now,
Emmanuel.
why is this partner or the search for a partner, a local partner for Exxon, keep delaying? It's been more than 6 months already.
It's surprising where we've got into. Initially, we got information that there was some kind of settlement on one company, which is supposed to be an oil marketing company in this country, GOIL, to name us the company that we had picked up information that they were going to be given the 5% stake as the local partner to ExxonMobil in this project that they are supposed to, or the drilling of oil on our seas. But interestingly, after some time now, we're also picking that.
But do they have the capacity? Does GOIL have the capacity to go upstream? Because it's been on the downstream for a long time.
Well, information we're picking from inside sources within GOIL is they have, gotten themselves ready all this while.
Financially,
technically, just for this particular deal. And so from the corridors of power as well, initially, the government, which has a stake in GOIL. Remember that GOIL is a listed company, and so you cannot say it's a government-owned company. They are listed, so it's a private firm or private. Yeah, they have shares on the stock market because they are trading there, and so government has some kind of shares within the company. You know, don't forget that government also has a say in deciding who the 5% will go to. As far as this particular deal with ExxonMobil is concerned, the other companies that will be given other blocks, we know that they'll be going through competitive bidding. Even the 5%, the government has decided they'll be going through competitive bidding for that. And so we thought that by now, you know, that should have been announced. And even though initially Exxon also raised questions as to GOIL's, you know, alignment with government, but I think that was cleared, and so they had gone in. We understand they had done all the auditing and things that they needed to do. We do not know exactly what is preventing the announcement for GOIL to, you know, go ahead with ExxonMobil to do what they have to do. And just as you indicated in your intro, there's that other school of thought.
Exactly. I was coming to that. Which of them do you belong to? I mean, should we amend the law to favor, for instance, ExxonMobil to go for full exploration and give Ghana a share, or you think that the existing arrangement should stay?
If there's a local company that has the capacity, why not? Why would you want the international company to still take up that 5% and then later pay you what you have to pay?
Yeah, but the capacity.
If they have the capacity, why not?
You think
don't forget that GOIL set up Go Energy, and I think the reason for setting up that company was for that company to now be at the forefront for this particular venture. GOIL, I understand, inside sources are telling us that have the vision of growing themselves to even own a block. Go ahead and bid for a block. And how can they do that? They need to partner with someone, you know, learn the processes, just as GMPC is going to be given a block, and then they ought to be able to learn so they can take over a whole block in the future. Why don't we do that?
We don't have much time, but lastly, before you go, do you think that by the end of the year, this announcement will be made?
Obviously, we are hoping that by the close of the year, if government doesn't change its mind, yes, it has to be GOIL. If they change its mind, we will see which other company that they would come forward with.
Thank you very much, and that was my colleague Norvan Akwa-Hayford sharing his thoughts on the marketplace. My name is Emmanuel Apwachi.